Hello and welcome to Sealclops Book Reviews. Today I'm going to be talking about Pam Godwin's Trials of Sin series, which is made up of 3 books. Here we go, so Knotted, Buckled and Booted. Enjoy! First up out of the Trials of Sin series is Knotted. Talking about the general genre for these 3 books, they are dark romance with a little bit of BDSM mixed in, Western, contemporary and suspense. How did the books compare with other books in the genre? So I discovered a new favourite author when I gave Knotted a go. Pam Godwin has an amazing ability to write mushy romance with darkness woven in. The contemporary Western are the main genres displayed upon first glance, however the angst and heartbreak included in these stories are enough to provoke tears whilst preventing you from putting the books down. And how does it match up to your expectations of that genre? So I was not expecting the complete roller coaster of emotions I experienced when reading this series. So I do not usually go for angsty, sad books, but the Trials of Sin books are an exception everyone should make. So there are some strong trigger warnings that must be read before going into this series, but the feelings you get when the books are over is something else entirely. Saying that, there is no actual trigger warning page at the start of these books. You sort of get the gist of what's going to be included when you read the summary or the blurb on the back of the book, but just keep in mind that there are some instances of sexual assault throughout the book, which are quite triggering for some people. Okay, so the very first book is Knotted. I actually have these 3 books in trade-size paperbacks that I ordered off of Amazon. So they're absolutely gorgeous. Gorgeous books. What I also like to share is this gorgeous hardcover edition that I got from Fabled Co., which is an Australian book subscription service. Has absolutely fantastic sprayed edges, lovely dust jacket, but what it also has is the naked hardcover underneath. So I'm very, very happy with my edition of Knotted that I got from Fabled Co., and I'm highly looking forward to them releasing, hopefully, the second and the third book in a similar, if not the same style. Fingers crossed. Okay, so the summary. So I tried to forget her, it's impossible. Growing up together, Connor and I shared all our firsts. First love, first kissed, firsts, not all our firsts. We were 16 the night she was violently assaulted while I helplessly watched. I'll never forget the sounds of her suffering, or my inconsolable agony when she left Oklahoma. Years later, she returns to honour our teenage pact, except the boy she loved is gone, replaced by a ruthless cattle rancher knotted with secrets. She doesn't know my dark cravings or the trials of sin that led to her. I don't deserve her, but one truth remains, she's mine. Okay, so the analysis. The plot and theme. So Jake, Jarrett, Lorne and Connor have been best friends for as long as they can remember. Jake and Jarrett are twins, while Lorne and Connor are brother and sister. As for Jake and Connor, they have been more than friends since they were old enough to decide. They were raised together, experienced the loss of their mothers together, and survived the night that would change all of their lives forever. So forced to move away, secluded from everyone she knew, Connor struggles to deal with the aftermath of that horrible night. So now it's 6 years later, 6 years of being alone, being lied to, and betrayal. So now it is time for Connor to get her revenge. A blood oath and a second chance to right the wrongs of the past, Jake takes Connor on a journey to reclaim what was supposed to be theirs, and the only way he knows how. She's alive because I broke her heart, and she's going to stay alive while I put it back together. Pacing, emotion, ending, and plot holes. So, the entirety of the book spans multiple years, however it is perfectly paced, it doesn't feel dragged out or anything at all. Jake is an amazing human being. He does everything in his power to get back to Connor and be able to be with her once again. The extent he goes to protect Connor throughout the book is completely heart-achingly beautiful. I found myself bawling like a baby and grinning like a loon within chapters while reading, telling myself to put the book down after the next chapter, but reading through the night anyway, as I couldn't stop. So each book in the Trials of Sin can be read individually as standalones, but should be read in the correct order for character development and appearances. I would very, very highly, strongly suggest you read them in the correct order, otherwise you may come across spoilers and some things that don't make sense as well. And then a little bit about the two main characters for this book. There's Connor Cassidy. She is part owner of Julep Branch. She is 16 at the start of the book and roughly 22 towards the end of it. She has striking red hair. She likes to play the guitar. She is quite confused and alone throughout the start of the book. However, you can still see how strong, resilient and capable she is, and she never gave up hope on Jake. And then there's Jake Holston. His father owns half of Julep Branch. He was 17 towards the start of the book, roughly 23 towards the end. Brown hair and brown eyes. He is the non-identical twin of Jarrett. He is the singer of the group. He is silent, dedicated and loyal, and hopelessly in love with Connor. Next up, we have the second book in the series, which is called Buckled. Buckled, again, I got off of Amazon. It's an Amazon published book. Quite a good size and quality to it as well. Okay, so the summary. I protect what's mine. The ranch, my family, our buried secrets. Nothing will stop me from reassembling the life that went terribly wrong. Not the law, not our enemies, not even maybe Quinn. The gorgeous, quarrelsome journalist shouldn't have meddled. I shouldn't have let her stay. But she's hiding something in those deceptive blue eyes. Something deeper than a thirst for a news story. I make a deal with her to buy time, to unravel her lies, to play with her, to satisfy my darker appetites. When she buckles beneath my belt, I'll send her away, unless I buckle first. Okay, so the plot and theme for this second book. Maybe Quinn, as you say, she's called Maybe quite a lot, so Maybe comes to Julep Ranch in search of answers. She has suspicions regarding the Holston family's past and is convinced that it somehow ties in with hers. She is determined to get to the bottom of it, no matter what she has to do. What she is not expecting is the magnetic pull that draws her towards Jarrett, and she doesn't know how to resist it. As the timeline progresses forward, more secrets are unearthed regarding all that the men did to enact revenge following that one horrible night. The law wouldn't look kindly on Jarrett and his murderous revenge for those who hurt his family, and Maybe is nosing her way into his secrets. So it gets a bit more suspense and not really crime booky, but there's a lot more thriller suspense starting from the second book and going into the third. So pacing, emotion, ending and plot holes. So once again, the pacing for this book was spot on. Pam Godwin has a way to make her books flow effortlessly. I find my anxiety skyrocketing when truths were revealed, causing pain and heartbreak from the gravitational, all-consuming pull Jarrett and Maybe had towards each other. You know that they wouldn't be able to live without the other. Pam captures her character's emotions and the plot intricacies so vividly, allowing readers the information needed to slowly travel along the storyline, revealing everything that's necessary to understand why her characters were forced to travel the road they did, regardless of the pain and hurt it caused. Okay, and then a little bit about the main characters for this second book. There's Maybe Quinn. She is a journalist intent on unearthing disappearing people near Julep Branch. She is sassy, resilient and resourceful, strong and determined. She has a backbone of steel. She was previously married and she was left with nothing, so it's pretty much a brand new start. She's determined to find answers no matter what. And then there is Jarrett Holston. So his father owns half of Julep Branch, 17 towards the start of the book, 23 roughly at this time. The start of the first book I should say. He has darker brown hair and paler brown eyes than his twin Jake. Non-identical twin to Jake, he is the harmonica player of their little group, and he is protective, secretive and loyal. Last but not least, we have the very last book of this series, which is called Booted. As you can see, it matches quite nicely to the other two in the series as well, being an Amazon print. And quite good quality as well. Okay, so the summary. The night I'm released from prison, she's in my bed. It's been 8 years since I touched a woman, and the Native American beauty is half-dressed, beaten, bruised, and devastatingly exquisite. We're toxic together, but we want the same things: blood, vengeance, violent relief in a warm body. Beneath her touch, I'm alive. Against her skin, I'm redeemed. Buried inside her, I forget the past, until the past takes her from me. Prison made me cold, but losing Raina makes me cruel, ruthless, unforgiving. I killed before, for her I'll kill again. I'll end this once and for all, or die in my boots. So you can see this one's a bit darker from the summary, and it's because the main character in it is the brother that was actually sentenced to jail time. So you actually work through his frame of mind throughout this book as well, as he comes to terms with life outside of prison once again. So the analysis, plot and theme. Raina's story begins at the end of Buckled. Maybe saves Raina's life, bringing her back to Jewel Branch in order to let her heal. This happens to be the same time Lorne is finally released from prison. So Lorne has spent years in a cell, watching as horrors unraveled before his eyes. Now he is out, roughened and silent, with an undying thirst for the blood of those who wronged his family. When he finds Raina asleep in his bed, his entire world stops. Feelings that have been buried deep make an appearance, invoking a hunger he cannot ignore. But can he trust the native beauty, or will she block him out? Pacing, emotion, ending, and plot holes. So the pain, trauma, suffering, and heavy emotions that Pam Godwin entwines in her stories just blows my breath away. Booted provides an amazing end to the Trials of Sin series, finally sharing Lorne's story and the effects the horrible night 8 years prior did to him. He and Raina are an amazing couple. They are the only two people that are able to heal the other. They have both gone through so much in their lives, but are still determined to push forwards to get to the happily ever after. I remember sitting for roughly an hour once I finished this book. I was not sure what to do with myself. The book hangover was quite intense. The story was extreme in an amazing way, and I could not believe it was over. I just didn't know what to do with myself. And then the main characters. So there's Raina. She is Native American, self-sacrificing to save her family. She dated Jake and Jarrett's father. She is fierce, strong, and patient, willing to risk her safety for others, and helps Lorne adapt to life outside of prison. And then there is Lorne Cassidy. So he owns part of Jewel Branch. He is 18 when the events of the first book took place, and he is roughly 26 towards the events of this book. He was in prison for 8 years. He has PTSD from prison. He is a guitar player in their group, and he is quite possessive and protective. So, compared to some of my other book reviews, I didn't put nearly as much under the plot and theme because I didn't want to give too much away. These books are absolutely amazing, and they deserve to be read properly to understand how good they actually are. So, the recommendation. I cannot recommend these books enough. They quickly became one of my favourite series, and I cannot see that changing anytime soon. It was not a series I would usually pick for myself, but I'm forever grateful that I gave it a go. And I strongly believe you'll not regret it if you give them a go. Okay, so I actually gave these 3 books 5 out of 5 stars. They were just that good. So I wish I could bottle the feeling of reading these series for the first time. I will definitely be revisiting these books many more times. Many more times. I have the audiobooks, I have the physical copies, and I have the ebooks on my phone, and I can put them on my Kindle if I want. They're just that good. I felt like I just needed to own as much of them as I can. So definitely worth giving a go. You'll not regret it. Thank you for watching my book review on the Trials of Sin series by Pam Godwin.